Right, in this short film I'm going to take a look at this Accucraft Ruby. Now the Ruby was first produced in the year 2000 as an inexpensive beginner's loco that could be easily modified. So I've just bought this one on eBay. The previous owner said that it was giving a bit of a problem, but what I'm going to do now is show you around it and then raise steam. One of the great things about Ruby is you can take the cab off completely. So this will allow me to show you around it a bit more easily. So let's have a look at the front. Quite simple. We have the beam going across there. We have a simple opening smoke box door. There's the exhaust there. These are a wee bit flimsy, but they seem all right. Valve gear working off eccentrics inside. And then coming around the back, we have the reversing lever, forward and reverse, a regulator here, open and closed, and a gas valve here with a gas tank with the filler on the top. And going right round, we have the displacement lubricator, which we're going to fill with oil. This doesn't have a drain on it. We're going to need to suck out the water that's in there with a syringe. Just a couple of things to be aware of on these locos. Be very careful with these screw out regulators. If you do it 10 turns or so, it'll come right out. So you never want to open it more than about half a turn like that. If it's not going fast enough, don't keep screwing it because it'll come out. Going back to the cab area, a couple of things you'll see that are not on this simple loco. They may be on, people may have put them on some, but they're not on this one. And that is there's no pressure gauge and there's no water gauge. Okay, so we're going to fill the boiler and we'll fill the gas, and the gas is designed to run out before it uses all the water up. Now under this dummy sandbox here is the water filler, and that unscrews, so we can put the water in there. And under this dome here is the safety valve. And it's worthwhile, if you've just bought a loco second-hand, you don't know it, just to check that safety valve. And I'm going to unscrew it. Now you don't want to be adjusting or fiddling with the safety valve, but there is a simple test you can do with these ones. You can see it there. The top actually comes off this, and we can see that the safety valve has a little O-ring there. And just press underneath to make sure that opens all right and it's not blocked up and it's not got any sort of calcium on there that suggests that people have been using hard water in the boiler. This one actually is working fine and is very clean. So I'm just going to pop that back in there, and that's the safety valve checked. Like that. The two other things I'm going to check before I steam it up are, first of all, the reversing valve here. And what I need to do with this is put it into reverse gear. And here you can see, I think you can see there, a little line on it, on this piston. This is the piston reverser. Now if I put it into forward gear, I can see that that line is just flush with the back of the block, the valve block, and that's how it should be, so that when it's furthest forward, that line on the piston valve there is just flush with the back of the block. So I now know that the reversing lever is set pretty much right. And the next thing I can do is just quickly look at the valves here, and you can see once again, I hope, that there's a little scribed line on there. And what I'm going to do is turn the wheels like that in forward gear, and you can see that at its furthest forward travel it's just level with the back of the cylinder. That's top dead center here. Sometimes it's arranged so that it's bottom dead center, but top or bottom, the main thing is that when that's turned, it's just level with the back. And I've checked that on both of these. In fact, one of them was out a bit, and you adjust it by just loosening off this nut here and turning the actual valve itself. Okay, and then tighten up the nut again. Now this loco arrived a couple of days ago, and one thing I did find when I steamed it the first time is that it didn't seem very powerful, and steam, even when it wouldn't start, but steam was issuing from the chimney. And what I found was that the O-rings in the cylinders were worn. These are rubber O-rings, and I replaced these. You can see these two little bolts here. You take those out, carefully remove the E-clip from there, and then you can pull out the piston and replace the O-ring with a silicone one. And you may notice here that's not an E-clip, it's a bit of wire, and that's because E-clips have a habit of flying across the workshop even when you know it isn't going to happen to you. So if you're buying O-rings from your supplier, they're for the 3/8 cylinders here or for the 1/2 inch cylinders, then buy some spare E-clips, I would recommend. Before I steam it up, I'm going to oil round very quickly. It won't take long on this, not much to oil round. I'm going to oil just with light motor oil on the parts here, the valve, the rocker there for the valve. Turn it round the other way. And rocker for the valve. And this loco, of course, has got eccentrics here inside, so I'm going to go just make sure plenty of oil on there, on the rockers, then a little bit on each of the wheel, and a little bit on there, a little drop on there I should say. Okay, in with the water, undo the filler thing here, little filler cap, and I use a squeezy ketchup bottle, and you can measure it in there, but I find it a lot easier to fill it right up using my syringe. I then take out 30 mils, and that's about right. Undo the displacement lubricator cap, and using a syringe, I use it with a bit of brass tube on the end. I'm going to take the water out of there, and you can see the water's in there, and I'm going to put some steam oil just carefully in there. Like that. And back on with the cap. Gas goes in here, butane, and when it vents like that, it's full. Now, I'm in the kitchen. Those of you who've seen these films of mine before will know that I film in the kitchen when my wife is off babysitting, which she is at the moment. So I'm just going to let that gas disperse before I light the burner. Make sure the regulator's closed, put it in neutral, turn it round here, open the smoke box door. Right, with the gas dispersed, I'm just going to ease it open gently. And there you can see the burner is alight. This tank's very good actually. It's quite, sometimes they jet flame out the front, but this one is pretty good. So I'm going to just give it a little bit more. So you can hear it like that. and I'm going to let that settle down. So that's settled down now, and I'm just simply going to close the smoke box door, turn it round like that, and wait for it to get up to steam. Okay, I can hear the safety valve beginning to fizzle, so I'm going to put it into gear, forward gear, and I'm just going to ease open the regulator. You see all that condensate coming out? There we are. I'm going to turn the gas down a bit. See, as the loco heats up, the gas tank heats up, increases the pressure, increases the flame, and so you just have to keep adjusting that gas down a tad. The popping noise from here is simply oil and water running down the exhaust pipe from the top, and the exhaust pipe itself is in the way of the flame in the smoke box, so it just boils and pops. It's absolutely normal. Just going to see if I can make that. There we are. Now, isn't that beautiful? I don't know how old this loco is, but just putting those new O-rings in, just tweaking the timing, and you've got a loco that runs like that. In the next video, I'm going to show how to fit a Summerland's chuffer, which will add a little chuff to the exhaust beak. Right, bye for now.